long division of polynomials. How many of you remember long division from 4th grade? Sweet. So you do this thing called divide, multiply, subtract, bring down, and then after you bring down, you go back up to the top, right? So, bless you. If we get a 4th grade level problem like 14 goes into 873 or 873 divided by 14, you would say, okay, 14 goes into 87, bless you, 6 times, right? Notice I wrote the 6 over the 7, not over the 8, because this 14 goes into 87 6 times, not into 8 6 times. Okay, then you multiply. 6 times 14 is 84. Then you subtract. So 87 minus 84 is 3. Then you bring down that 3. Then you go back up to the top and you start all over again, right? So you divide. 14 goes into 33 2 times. Then you multiply. 2 times 14 is 28. Then you subtract. So 33 minus 28 happens to be 5. And then you bring down, but there's nothing left to bring down, right? So maybe your teacher had you at a decimal point in the 0, right? And you kept going. But we're just going to bring this up as your remainder. Okay, you're going to have a remainder of 5 over whatever it is you're dividing by, right? We're dividing by 14, so we say a remainder of 5 over 14, okay? So we're going to do long division, but instead of 4th grade level, we're going to be doing it with polynomials, all right? So example number 1, we're going to take x to the 3rd minus 5x squared plus 4x minus 2 divided by x minus 2. Okay, so it looks like a fraction. Fractions are always division problems. Okay, so whatever you're dividing by, that's going to go on the outside of the division house, right? And this big long polynomial is going to go underneath. So we're going to have x to the 3rd minus 5x squared plus 4x minus 2. Okay. So you're going to say, how many times does x go into x to the 3rd? How about x to the 2nd time? Because this is x to the 1st. We would need it to add up to 3. So x to the 1st times x to the 2nd would give us x to the 3rd. So we're going to write it over the top of the x squared term. So let me do it in another color. We're going to write x squared. Okay? X squared times x to the 1st is x to the 3rd. So x to the 1st goes into x to the 3rd, x to the 2nd times. So right now we just divided. Now we're going to multiply. Why did I write it above this one? Because they're like terms. We're not going to have an x to the 3rd. It'll make sense in a second. All right. X, now we're going to M. So we just divided. Now we're going to multiply. So we're going to take x squared and we're going to multiply by x to the 1st, which gets us x to the 3rd. And we're going to multiply x to the 2nd times negative 2, which is minus 2x squared. Yes. Now, step number 3, we're going to subtract, okay? Subtraction is the opposite of addition, right? So I'm going to say this to change this to minus and change this to plus. So I just switched both sides, okay? X to the 3rd minus x to the 3rd is 0. The point is that these should cancel out, right? Okay? Then we're going to combine these two. Negative 5x squared plus 2x squared is negative 3x squared. All right. That was our subtract. Now let's bring down. The next term to bring down is this 4x. So we're going to say plus 4x. Okay, then we go back up to the top, up to divide. So we need to take the negative 3x squared, because that's the next thing down here, and divide it by x to the first. So we know it's going to be negative, right? We know there needs to be a 3 and x to the first, right? Because x to the first times x to the first would be x to the second. So that's our divide. Now we want to multiply. So we're going to multiply negative 3x times x, which is negative 3x squared. We want these two to be the same, because when we go to subtract them, we should get opposites and they should cancel, right? Okay. Now we need to multiply negative 3x times negative 2, which is plus 6x. That's our multiply. Now we go to the s, so we're going to subtract. So I'm going to change this to plus and this to minus or negative, however you want to think about it. Okay? These are opposites, which is what we want. If they're not opposites, you got to fix something. Okay? They will cancel off when we combine these two. 4x minus 6x is negative 2x. After subtract, we're going to bring down. So the only term left to bring down is that minus 2. After we bring down, we go back up to divide. So we're going to say x into negative 2x is just negative 2. So after we divide, we multiply. Negative 2 times x is negative 2x. Negative 2 times negative 2 is plus 4. Next step is subtract. So we change this to plus. We change this to minus. These are opposites. They're going to cancel. Negative 2 plus negative 4 is negative 6. After we subtract, we bring down, but there's nothing left to bring down. So this becomes our remainder. So we say remainder of negative 6 over the divisor. So we have x minus 2. Okay? All right. Any questions on example 1? All right, let's do one more so you guys can get a little more comfortable with it. Example number 2, we're going to take 3x to the third minus x squared minus 4x and divide it by x minus 1. Now, anytime you're missing a term, so whatever your largest exponent is, in this case it's 3, you should be able to count down from your exponents. So if this is x to the third, this should be x to the second, this should be x to the first, which it is, but there should also be an x to the 0 or a numeric term, and there's not one. So I'm just going to write plus 0 for now. Okay? So sometimes you all have to fill that in. Or it could have been missing an x squared term. You would just write plus 0 and squeeze it in there. It's like a placeholder. Okay? All right. So let's start with DMSB. Okay, so first thing we want to do is divide. We're going to take 3x cubed and divide it by x. That goes in there 3x squared times. That's our D. Now we're going to multiply. 3x squared times x is 3x cubed. And 3x squared times negative 1 is negative 3x squared. That's our multiply. Now we subtract. So change this to negative, change this to plus. So that these are opposites, right? These are going to cancel out, and then we combine what's left. So negative 1x squared plus 3x squared is 2x squared. Then we have our B, our bring down. We're going to bring down that negative 4x. And then go back up to the top. Go back up to divide. So x goes into 2x squared, 2x times. That's our divide. Now we're going to multiply. 2x times x is 2x squared. And 2x times negative 1 is negative 2x. Now we subtract, so this is minus, this is plus. Opposites and they cancel. Negative 4x plus 2x is negative 2x. Bring down a 0. Go back up to the top to divide. So we want to say x goes into negative 2x negative 2 times. Then we multiply. Negative 2 times x is negative 2x. Negative 2 times negative 1 is plus 2. Then we want to subtract, so this becomes plus, this becomes minus. These are opposites and they cancel. 0 minus 2 is negative 2. Nothing left to bring down, so this is your remainder. We have a remainder of negative 2 over x minus 1. Okay? On your assignment, you're going to see 5 of these. And you're going to say, Mrs. Hoban, isn't there an easier way? Please, please tell me there's an easier way, right?